dry oil container. No water, no soap, no trash.
Right.
And there's a little bit in there currently, but usually it's got a little bit more. So this is the grease garage. What we do is we have a band here, a band here that's wrapped around that, and that brings that up. Ideally, you want it to be, I think it was about 120, 115, something like that, and that's for the viscosity. So like
Degrees.
exactly the degree. So the oil is the right fluidity for going into a car. So here I have this catches the grease, pulls it through this pump. This pump brings it through here, and there's one of these sock type filters. This unscrews right up here. There's a pressure gauge. This pops off and this goes into there. So that when the oil is coming through the motor, being pulled through the barrel, through the motor, it's going through this sock filter, coming out here to your gas nozzle. I pour this into a bucket, then I do a second cycle. Then what I do is I take what's in the bucket, I put this into there, and I run it through a second time into that. Just to kind of, I figure, I don't know enough yet.
So you're running it a second time?
That's correct, but I don't know enough yet to know how many, I don't have a oil to compare it to know what the finished product should really be, but he drove it to Delaware and back and everything worked fine, so so I seem to be on the right track with that. Trunk here. I'll show you what's up real fast.
Yeah.
Pop his trunk. This is where his auxiliary tank is kept for the oil. That little gizmo right there is the grease car. I think it's called an interface, and what that is that is doing automatically what you would have to do manually, which is flushing your system from the diesel to introduce oil to that, or vice versa if you want to go back to diesel. So that automatically does that. When your engine reaches a certain temperature, it'll say right on there that it's now using vegetable oil, and it'll automatically transfer over to that, use the vegetable oil, and when you come to a stop, you hit a flush cycle, and that gives you 24 seconds where it flushes the oil out of the tubes, out of the hoses. Then you turn off your car, and then when you restart your car, usually it's starting with diesel until you reach that the optimal temperature to where it transfers over to vegetable oil again.
Can any car do this?
Only diesel cars can. And the mechanic that we took this to in Maryland said that aside from old Mercedes, the ideal candidate is like an old Volkswagen Rabbit or something like that.
The 25-year-old Mercedes, and it's a diesel, and the greasecar.com. You buy the grease car kit in Massachusetts, and I went to Elkton, Maryland, and had it installed by a gentleman who's installed hundreds of these, and just think it's great. The investment was about $3,000 plus the shed that I built and things, but if I can get a year, 2 years out of this with a historic Mercedes and making a statement for we burn all our oil, or your French fry dollar at work, which I think is pretty cool, The only problem is the car always wants to stop at McDonald's and get some ketchup, and I really run out of time. I'm always late for appointments.